You have missed 3 days of video because I didn't accidentally delete the last 3 days of video, but I uploaded to my computer yesterday evening the last 3 days of video. At least I thought I had uploaded them to my computer. Before verifying, I deleted everything on the card. Well, it did not transfer properly to my computer, so the last 3 days of video were lost. And you missed quite a bit. One of the things you missed is my review on these cheap blue tarps. See this? Well, yeah. They do not hold any pressure at all when you start to strap them down. There's a couple of them on here. See, there's another one. Yesterday we were cutting wheat, and you know, hold on, let me go get my mic. Okay, hopefully that's better. Yesterday we were cutting wheat. Very good day cutting wheat. I had cut wheat the day before. This is Friday morning, by the way. Friday morning, the 20th. So, Wednesday, the sun finally came out. About 4 o'clock, I got in the wheat field. I cut one load of wheat, took it to the elevator yesterday morning. Moisture was about 15%, 15.3. Test weight dropped 2 points, and I think I said that in the last video, that rain affects test weight. So we lost 2 points on the test weight. So we get in the field and get started yesterday about noon. And I said, in order for me to make some progress here, I need a trailer in the field. So I called the trucking company I use to haul grain. I said, hey, can you get a trailer in the field to me today? I said, I will have everything loaded by the time you get here, so you won't have to wait. He said, yep, not a problem. So he got here about 2:30. I had the wagon here loaded. I've got the auger set up here in the field, as you can see. I had my combine loaded and the truck. So that was between 950 and 1,000 bushels. And I said, hey, I need you to haul one more load for me. Can you come back tomorrow, meaning today? He said, yeah. I said, I'll try to have a load out this evening before the rain, so you can load first thing in the morning. He said, yep, not a problem. Just give me a call. So we were under thunderstorm watches, chance of thunderstorms yesterday evening. So as I'm cutting for the second trailer load, I start getting all the alerts on my phone, and at about 4 o'clock, I get an alert, rain within, a storm coming in within 30 minutes. Be at your location at 4:30. I looked at the radar, there was nothing around me. Rain was at least an hour away, but I get on the phone with my daughter and I say, hey, are you about to leave the store? She said, yep, I'm just about done. I said, grab a tarp and some straps, meet me in the field. We're gonna get everything covered up here. But I needed until 6 o'clock to get enough for a trailer load this morning. I needed to be able to cut until 6 o'clock. And I kept looking at the radar. I said, man, I think I can make it. By the time she got here, I'd already had the truck full. I was loading the wagon. So I had told her just to grab a blue tarp for me. She grabbed the blue tarp. She got some straps for me at the store. So by this time, the wind has picked up a little bit. We're trying to get this blue tarp on the wagon here, and we're trying to strap it down. Well, as we're strapping it down, this is what happened. These things are pulling apart. We're putting no pressure on them at all before they start pulling apart. I said, oh man, this isn't gonna work. She said, hey, That's okay. We have a better tarp at the store. I didn't realize this. She said, we have what is called a heavy duty tarp. I said, go back and get that. So she went back and got this heavy tarp. So it's got a few reinforcements here on the corner. It's just an overall heavier tarp. I didn't realize we had any of these. I thought all we had were those cheap blue tarps. I said, go get that. I'm getting back on the combine. I'm trying to beat the rain here. So she went up and got that, came back, and I don't know how she did it, but she got that tarp on by herself. Okay, I've got that off. I've got to walk down here to the combine now. She got that on. I'm watching the rain. I'm down here on the river shore. I'm taking video for you all of the storm clouds rolling across the river, giving my commentary on it, looking at the radar. Man, we got to beat this rain. So I get the combine loaded. It was 10 after 6. The storm clouds are rolling in. I did get one picture on my phone of the clouds and the storm rolling across the river. I had a tarp in the truck for the combine. We jump up on the combine. The tarp wasn't quite big enough. We get that tarp down. Thunder and lightning all around us. The truck was already tarped. Anyhow, as I was driving out of the road in my pickup, we got the first few drops. My cousins were in the field across from the farm. They were baling straw and cutting wheat on that farm. By the time my daughter got back to the farm, she said, man, I've never seen a combine roll across the field as fast as that one was going, because they cut up right until it started raining. I think the straw crew got wet. She said everybody was piled on the wagon, headed back to the barn as it was raining. She said rain was coming down sideways. Well, anyhow, I cut 2,000 bushels yesterday, or very close to 2,000 bushels. Very pleased. We've got all of this here cut, this field. Yields dropped off a little bit because of the test weight. About 90 bushels to the acre in this field. Jumped across the road here. We jumped back up a little bit in yield over here. I've still got one more field here. I said in the video that I do want to try to bale the straw in this field. This is between 7 and 8 acres that I would like to try to bale the straw in that field. Still got some left in this field here. So overall, it was a good day. I had what I thought was some great video footage, but you're not going to see it. Talked about my Father's Day gift that I got. That was a couple days ago. That video footage is lost. What else? Oh, I gave an update on Farmer's Daughter's outboard motor on the boat. That video is lost. By the way, the water pump did not fix the issue. She got out in the boat, what was that, Monday? No, Saturday evening. She got out in the boat, 5 minutes, it stopped pissing. So the water pump wasn't the issue. We have since figured out the water pump. I'll try to get back to that and explain what's going on there. All right, right now, I've got to take the tarp off of this combine here. I did get a call from the trucking company this morning. There is a driver coming my way. It's going to be an hour or two before he gets here, but I'll try to have everything ready for him by the time he does get here. All right, so in the end, we only ended up with about a 1/4 inch of rain yesterday evening. A quick moving storm that rolled through. The way the wind is blowing today, I think we can be in the field this afternoon by 12 or 1 o'clock. That's my hope anyway. I still haven't finished planting full season soybeans. I think maybe tomorrow we can get on that. I did try to spray some full season soybeans, grass weeds coming up in the first ones I planted. I tried to spray those Wednesday afternoon, but the wind, it was just blowing too hard. It was blowing between 10 and 15 miles an hour. So that's when I jumped on the combine. Is after I couldn't spray soybeans. I said, let me get on the combine and try to cut some wheat. So I was surprised that the moisture was down as much as it was after the 5 days of rainy, cloudy weather that we had. We didn't have a whole lot of rain in that 5-day stretch, but it was cloudy every day and humid. I think we ended up with a ½ inch of rain during that 5-day period, and then another ½ inch of rain yesterday. Okay, let's take the combine up to the auger, and then I've got to walk down and get the truck. The forecast for the next 5 to 7 days is clear weather, so finally we get a stretch of weather with no rain in the forecast. Of course, by next week we'll be begging for rain for this corn. Temperatures are supposed to be in the 90s for the next 5 days or so. Today it's not too bad. Today will be the cooler day, a little less humidity, but by Sunday the humidity and the heat are cranking back up. Yesterday, it was hot yesterday, a high of 92 degrees. If it hadn't have been for that wind blowing 10 to 15 miles an hour, it would have been damn hot. But corn is liking this weather. Corn is growing. On my way to the elevator and back yesterday, I noticed we are in all stages of corn in this county. It's anywhere from 6 inches tall to 6 feet tall. I suspect we'll see some corn tasseling probably later next week, and so we don't want to see this heat and dry weather on that corn, but we'll see how it goes. At the moment, corn really looks good. I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to plant these soybeans. I've got a lot of straw on top of this ground here that I've got to get through. I just may end up bringing my corn planter down. That only has 30-inch rows, so I would have to plant this twice to get it down to 15-inch rows. So I would plant it once and then come back and plant in between each one of those rows to give me 15-inch rows. 30-inch rows in these double crop soybeans at this time of the year would not work out too well. My drill just is not going to cut through that straw, and I'm not sure how well the corn planter is going to do, but we'll figure something out here. All right, I had to get the truck off of the road last night. I didn't want to park it in the field next to the auger because I wasn't sure how much rain we were going to get, so I didn't want it to be stuck there. So I wanted to park it here on a driveway in case I didn't get a truck this morning and we got too much rain, then I could have taken this load to the elevator myself. So that's why I'm walking down here. And this is where my cousin was, or cousins were cutting wheat yesterday. And they got some straw baled up here. I see water in the tracks out there. I can't imagine those are fresh tracks that they left cutting that wheat yesterday. But I do see water in the tracks, and here's some trailers here where they've been loading straw onto these trailers. It's for one of our local contractors. And I do see some wagons loaded down there with straw. And that is my Father's Day gift. You missed the whole unboxing because, yeah, I deleted the video. And so the update here on the outboard motor, Oh man, there's cobwebs everywhere. I walked into them when I walked into the shop. I hate that. So we think now the issue is thermostat. I called a relative of mine on one day last week, one evening. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I don't know. He was sitting on his front porch drinking a beer. I think he was like 4 beers in by this point. And I was talking about this motor, and he said, have you checked the thermostat? Well, this guy is a heat and air guy. What does he know about outboard motors? And he's sitting on his front porch with 3, hell, he may have been a 12-pack in by this point. He said, have you checked the thermostat? I said, this motor is like 40 years old. Well, it's 30. I think it's 35, 30 years old. I said, do these things have a thermostat? He said, yeah. He said, I think they do. He said, some of the older ones maybe not. I'm like, I don't know whether to believe him or not. So I came down here Father's Day, Sunday, and I looked at the diagram for the parts breakdown, and lo and behold, yes, there is a thermostat in this motor. And it is right behind this housing here. So I took this housing off, and this is what I discovered. Let's go over here on the bench. Okay, so this is a thermostat made out of some type of plastic, of all things. So, okay, so the thermostat, you know, was in there like this, the spring pressing against the housing. When I pulled it out, this is what I found. And then these pieces of plastic were all kind of mushed around that spring like that. And then there was one piece of plastic covering a hole where the water circulates through. Well, that's not the way that's supposed to be. There's supposed to be 3 points around here holding this spring in, but this plastic had broken off of there and one piece got lodged and covered the hole. Now, it still doesn't make sense to me that it would go for 5 minutes and piss and then stop. If that hole is blocked, the hole is blocked and there shouldn't be any water moving through it. I don't know, but she's got a thermostat on order. It's going to be here in about a week or 10 days. In the meantime, I told her to go ahead and put the covering back on here, run it without a thermostat just to see if it's going to continue pissing out of the hole and circulating water. There's one other issue it could be if this doesn't fix the problem, and that is a corroded bypass line somewhere. I'm not quite sure where that bypass line is, but I talked to my relative last night and I said, hey, yeah, I don't know what you were doing, what kind of beer you were drinking or what you were smoking, but apparently it is a thermostat. At least that's what we think. He said, well, if it's not that, there's a bypass line that could be all rusted out and you'll need to replace it. So she's put this back on. She hasn't taken it back down to the creek. She just hasn't had time. Well, I kept her busy yesterday evening when she got off work getting ready for that storm. It was windy. It's been windy almost every day this week, so she hasn't gone out in the creek just because of the wind. But she'll get a chance maybe this weekend to run it and see if that is going to fix the problem. But we're hoping that that is the issue. She's getting a little frustrated with this thing, but okay. All right, that's enough of me rambling on this video. You're kind of caught up on why you haven't seen much from me in the field. I think I'm going to wrap this one up, and then the next video hopefully is me cutting some more weed and loading some trucks and getting that out of here. I'm just waiting on the truck driver now to give me a call for him to be on his way to get that trailer loaded. I think what I'm going to do is go pull the baler out of the barn and check over that and get it ready. So let's wrap it up and say, see ya!